Taiwan suspects Chinese ships cut island's internet cables.
Here's a summary of the article.
For connecting to the outside world, Matsu's 14,000 residents rely on 2 submarine internet cables leading to Taiwan's main island. The National Communications Commission, citing the island's telecom service, blamed 2 Chinese ships for cutting the cables. A lot of tourists would cancel their booking because there's no internet. Nowadays, the internet plays a very large role in people's lives, said Chen, who lives in Began, one of Matsu's main residential islands. Authorities found 2 Chinese ships in the area where the cables were cut, based on automated identification system data, similar to GPS, which shows a vessel's location. Despite the protection, cables can get cut quite easily by ships and their anchors, or fishing boats using steel nets. Advertisement. Wang Chengming, the head of Lianxiang County, as the Matsu Islands are officially called, said he and the legislator from Matsu went to Taipei shortly after the internet broke down to ask for help, and was told they would get priority in any future internet backup plans. Repairing the cables is expensive, with an early estimate of $30 million new Taiwan dollars for the work of the ships alone.
This post received a score of 14,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
It does raise an important question: why is China frequently cutting internet cables to Taiwan during times of rising tensions surrounding the status of Taiwan? An obvious answer that some Chinese commentators would have us accept is that, if they admit that it is occurring at all, which they would likely deny, it is mere harassment of Taiwan. China is unhappy with the conduct of Taiwan and wishes to sanction it by cutting its internet cables, which create inconveniences and are costly to repair. This raises further questions. If China's purpose is only to sanction Taiwan for what it considers as being undesirable behavior, why cut its internet cables? Why not impose unofficial trade restrictions which harm their economy and inconvenience their citizens, which is what they do to most countries who engage in behavior it considers undesirable? Why choose an action which would typically be seen as a precursor to an invasion? I think the answer, which is more sinister than mere harassment, is that its purpose is to normalize actions that would typically be seen as a precursor to an invasion. This would lull analysts into a false sense of security. When China does cut the internet cables to Taiwan and fly hundreds of fighter jets into its airspace as a precursor to an invasion, Taiwan and the US cannot judge whether it is its normal harassing behavior or the precursor to an invasion, and may not take the action it would otherwise have taken if it could make a firm assessment of the intention to invade. In the end, this conduct is persuasive evidence that China is at least contemplating a future use of military force to subjugate Taiwan and is using gray zone tactics to make it more difficult to infer when an invasion is imminent.
Makes sense. But ultimately, if they ever did plan on invading, it would require massive buildup of forces and equipment. For this to ultimately work, they would sort of need to do what Russia did, and build up massive forces and equipment, periodically, or every time they intended to normalize this behavior. China would need to align the cutting of these cables with massive military drills, and do this basically every time, for this to inevitably work. In the long run, I have to imagine Taiwan does or would do whatever they needed to do to be prepared, just in case, if China were to ever start doing this alongside massive military exercises.
China already conducts massive military drills to prepare for an invasion of Taiwan. To illustrate, China has created a training field which is a replica of Central Taipei in Inner Mongolia, which it has been using to carry out regular military exercises which prepare for an invasion since 2015. In some months, hundreds of incursions have taken place. In addition, China is constantly hacking into and interfering with critical infrastructure in Taiwan. China has also been building up its military in the area surrounding Taiwan for some time so that it could carry out an invasion at any time should it so decide. The mere fact that the US probably still could distinguish between an actual and apparent invasion is not a reason for China not to take steps to make it harder for them.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.